Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I am going to be talking all things Star Wars. Now, you know the rumors that are out circulating. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk a bit about that. And then basically where I would take the Star Wars franchise. What would I do different? How would I plan ahead to make Star Wars back to the top of the mountain, back to its king status, back to being one of the greatest franchises of all time. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk all Star Wars. So let me know your comments below. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and let's get into this video now. Okay, so look, the rumors are, I don't know if they're completely true or not, but there are heavy rumors going around that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be ousted out of Lucasfilm. Now that we know Chapek is gone, Bob Iger's coming back. You know, they've got a 2-year plan with him trying to find a successor to come in and run Disney, get it back to where it was. And apparently, from what I've heard, I don't know if it's 100% true or not, but from what I've heard, Kathleen Kennedy is on that list of getting the boot as well. Look, she has been an absolutely fantastic producer. Like, no one can ever say anything bad about her when it comes to producing, because she is one of the greats when it comes to producing movies. As a head of a studio, though, I don't think she's done quite the job that, I think most of us expected when she was first reinstated as the head of Lucasfilm. She was handpicked, remember that. So, look, she's made some decisions along the way that haven't been great. Obviously, the sequel trilogy, we all know how bad of a mess that was. We know the stuff that went behind the scenes with Solo, how that lost money as well. She has done some things and greenlit things that have been great, in my opinion, like Endor. Absolutely loved that one. Force Awakens was decent. I like that one as well. Mando, I love that as well. So she has had some that have hit, but more or less, she has hit ones that have just not hit. And we know that. So with her departure, I am going to take the role of being head of Lucasfilm and dealing with the Star Wars stuff. The changes I would bring, my decisions I would make, what would I do if I was the head to bring this great franchise back to where it should be, which is at the top of the chain. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the plan and direction side of it with Star Wars. Obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to structure a 10-year plan. Things that I think we should be doing with the Star Wars thing. The biggest criticism I've had of Star Wars of late is that there's been no plan and no direction. None of that has been there. We have seen that. The sequel trilogy is the biggest example of no direction, no plan, no nothing. And look how bad of a mess that turned out. We just got 3 completely different films that never meshed with them, never created a cohesive story, that just were reactionary things to, oh, what did the audience think of this movie? Now let's change it. That's what the sequel trilogy has been, and that's its legacy. And when you hire people like Adam Driver to come in, who's a fucking absolutely phenomenal actor. You got Daisy Ridley, who's fantastic as well. John Boyega. You then got Oscar Isaac in there. And then obviously you bring Mark Hamill back. You've also got all these other great people coming back as well. Obviously Harrison Ford. Like, there's so many talented there. And you're thinking, okay, you've got all this. You could be absolutely fantastic. Like, this is it. But then you get a director who comes in who does a really, like, cut and paste of A New Hope, which is fine, but it worked. It was effective with what it did. Introduce the new characters. It was great. And then you get to Last Jedi, bring in Rian Johnson, who I absolutely love as well. I love Rian Johnson. Like, his Knives Out films are fantastic. But his film just did not mesh well with The Force Awakens. It was ideas that he came across, the things that just did not work, in my opinion, at all. I didn't like Luke Skywalker in that. And then you get to Rise, where they bring JJ back, and it's completely just trying to retcon everything that happened in The Last Jedi, and it's like freaking 2 to 3 movies in one 2-hour slot, and it's just ultimate fan service. That's really what it is. It just doesn't work. So the first thing I do is I sit down and I map out my 10 years. I go, okay, we're sitting down, 10 years. This is what we're doing for the next 10 years. These are the movies we're doing, and these are the shows we're doing. I do both. Now, it's been how long since we've had a movie? For Star Wars, it's been way too long. So I'm starting straight away. I'm mapping out the next trilogy. What is the next trilogy we're doing? And I would still do other movies on the side as well. Like, so I wouldn't go ham and do what Marvel's doing and do like 3 movies and all these shows. No. What I would do is I'd have one show going, and then I'd have a trilogy going, and then I'd have every second year I'd have a solo film that's like separate but not at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like a film that's there that's connected to the main timeline, but it's focusing on other characters in like maybe a different side of the galaxy or something like that, like dealing with other issues, making it different. That's what I would do. That's the first thing I would do. Sit down, map out where I'm going, what am I doing. That's my first thing. When it comes to what content I'm going to do, look, first off, if I'm there, I'm finishing Endor because I like Endor. I'm finishing season 2 of that as well. The Ahsoka one, getting that out. I'm getting, what's it called? All the other one, the Acolyte that's been announced as well, that's coming. What else is coming? Like all the ones that have already been announced, that's all coming out. I'm still going to do all that. That's going to get released. Done. But then moving forward, once that's all out, like another thing I'd also do is I'd keep Visions. I would keep that going because that to me is one of the most unique things that they've done. And that is a big thing that I absolutely love is it's meshing anime, Star Wars. It's bringing this whole new audience of anime people, anime fans, bringing them towards the Star Wars franchise. And I think the way the anime is structured is really good for this Star Wars universe. Like, look at that first season. Like, look at the different stories they can tell, different things they can do. My only issue is it's felt too short, and maybe you could expand upon that a bit more. But I would continue that. I would keep doing Visions, because by doing that, you can tell whatever story you want. It doesn't have to connect with our main timeline or anything like that. Like, these can be one-off stories that are just unique and different animation styles. I think that is a goldmine. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's something that we need in the Star Wars universe. So that I would continue. Now, when it comes to what I would do with the trilogies, look, there are 2 options that I would do. The first one is what I think every Star Wars fan wants. The Old Republic. I think the Old Republic is a goldmine. There are stories that span for like 5,000-10,000 years that you can do, that you can tell. Endless possibilities, new characters. There is so much rich lore there that we can dive into when it comes to Old Republic. The second option for me is we go way into the future. We go like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years in the future. We leave behind the Skywalker era and we move into a whole new age. We tell new stories. We start fresh. We start again. We map out this plan and we do that. So they're the 2 options I would go. If I'm going Old Republic, man, I am doing stuff that is like, I'm doing the Revan storyline, Malgus, and I'm leading in. And my final ones would be Darth Bane. Like, that would be it. And then maybe look into the more along the Sith line. So when it comes to that content as well, what I would also do is I'd have more mature content. What I mean by that is, I would dive into the R-rated. I would dive into that, especially when we're telling a story. For example, Darth Bane. Now, if you guys have read the Darth Bane books, you just know how brutal that is. Now, I think we can, when we're dealing with the Sith and we're telling a Sith-only story like a Darth Bane, I believe that giving that more mature rating of an MA or an R will blend itself a lot better with that content and make it feel a bit different, but also make it feel like Star Wars at the same time. Like, we're dealing with this. I don't think we've ever seen anything from a Sith point of view. We've mainly followed the Jedi, which is understandable because they're the heroes of the galaxy. But why not show us a story like a Darth Bane? Like, do a trilogy of Darth Bane and give us that more mature. Show how brutal, how violent, how no mercy that they show to other people. The no compassion. Show us all that. Explore the lore, like the Korriban stuff. Show us these Sith academies. There is an endless supply here that we can tap into when it comes to the Sith. Show us the gritty side of that. Show us just how pure evil they are. That it's just there. And for me, I don't think a PG would do it justice. I think you need to go in that, which is something that I think you could do in this day and age now. I think we can do that. I think Marvel is going to start doing it with Deadpool. We're going to start seeing more of that. I think you can do it. There's an audience there. And anyone that says you're not going to do it because R-rated's not going to make the money. Joker made. How much did Joker make? It made $1 billion. first R-rated movie to make $1 billion. The audience is there. And then you label Star Wars to that. Darth Bane, this is what people want. You can make money of this as long as it's good. And it's there. And I think that could work. But I think what you could also do with the content is you have your main storyline. Because if you do the Old Republic, you have your main storyline, which is you can be your Revenant. You can do that. But you got to remember, in the Old Republic, there's a heap of Jedi and a heap of Sith. So the other movies can be these one-offs with these other Jedi going on a mission, giving us that, showing us that, and how that maybe connect to the bigger universe. Like, there is endless supplies. Like, you've got to remember, Star Wars is a vast galaxy. It is huge. We have not explored anywhere near even a third of this galaxy. There is so many planets. There is so many conflicts going on that we can explore when it comes to Star Wars. There's endless possibilities. You can do that, and then you can have a show as well that is dedicated to another character and another mission going on. The Old Republic is probably the one time period where you can do whatever you want with any characters. There is just an endless supply of it. So I really think an Old Republic would easily suffice for 10 years, 20 years. Like, you can do that stuff. It's all there. It's all there. So that is the content that I would bring. I would personally go the Old Republic one, but I am always down to do a fresh start and go into the future, thousands of years in the future, where we don't have any connection to the Skywalker saga. I'm a bit burnt out by the Skywalker era now. I feel like it's time to probably move on from it now. I mean, it's just shrinking the universe more and more because people are like, this person knows this person related this and that. It's shrinking the universe. Why not expand and make it bigger? So for me, this is the content that I would bring in my 10-year plan as the head of Lucasfilm. Another thing I want to talk about is diversity. And what I mean by that, I don't mean by like what you guys are thinking. I mean diversity in the content. And what I mean by that is different genres. Like, how cool would it be if we had a horror style in Star Wars? How cool would that be? Like, different type of genres, like a spy sort of thriller, like we got with Endor. Like, there is endless supplies of different genres that you can mesh into the Star Wars universe. Because it's an endless supply of different characters, we can tell these dramatic films, these dramatic stories. And I would love to see them take more of a diverse route when it comes to the genre within Star Wars. Like, you could still make it feel like Star Wars. Like, the biggest example is the MCU. Winter Soldier is a spy thriller, and it works. It still works today. Like, it is in the MCU. It's a different type of genre, and that's what the MCU does. Some of them are different genres, but they still feel like an MCU movie. You can do that with Star Wars. And I think when you come with the mature content style as well, you can do a Darth Bane and make it more along the horror elements and give us that horror vibe because we're dealing with the dark side. Like Darth Xana, Sith sorcery. Like, that would blend so well with horror. Like, if you guys have read the books or know anything about Sith sorcery, that shit is crazy. Imagine someone sitting there, losing their mind, seeing things like monsters, all sorts of crap, their worst nightmares on the biggest screen. How awesome would that be? I think then you bring in a whole new branch of people as well, of horror fans. They start to see and go, oh my god, Star Wars is trying something different. Let's go check out this horror. There is endless supplies for this. Like, we can build a bigger audience. And by doing this, everyone's getting a bit of something that they love as well. And that's trying to unite the fan base at the same time. So I think that could work as well. And telling different stories with different characters is the key as well. Let's not just focus on one era and connect it to everyone. Let's, like, when you got the Old Republic, let's have different stories for different people going into the Outer Rim, going to here. Like, do that. That's what I want to see. I want to see that. And for me, when it comes to this side, diversity, I think is a key element when it comes to Star Wars in expanding the universe. I also want to talk about the directors. Now, by this, what I mean is, look, the first thing I do is when I map out my 10-year plan. Okay, we got this trilogy. I'm finding a director who's signing on for that trilogy. I am not chopping and changing like they did in the sequel trilogy. I am going, okay, you have got this trilogy. A bit like what DC did with the Batman trilogy and what Marvel do with most of their trilogies. They get the same director to come in. Now, I would say to this director, I'd be like, look, okay, this is the plan. I got this trilogy mapped out here. I want you to do the full trilogy, right? Obviously, you give him parameters like this is Like, you give him the whole thing, like, you can't go out of here, like, boundaries and everything like that. But I say to him, look, I understand that you don't want to just make 3 Star Wars on the bounce. You do what Christopher Nolan did. You come in, you make your Star Wars film, go out, make another film, come back and do the second one. Go out, make another film, come back. Keeps your creative mind ticking. That way you don't get burned out and you understand where you're going and you can be the best version of yourself. That is why the Dark Trilogy is so good. It's because Nolan was going out, making other movies, coming back, keeping his mind ticking all the time, not just getting burnt out by the same thing. So the first thing I do is I get my trilogy set out and I get my directors in and I go, look, you're doing this trilogy. We're having the same writers. We're having the same director and we are going with this. This is the plan. We are going the whole entire way. I'm not veering off if any bad reception or anything. We're veering down this path. That is the first thing I would do. Another thing is I'm getting filmmakers to come in who can bring new ideas, fresh new ideas to the Star Wars universe. Now, I think what I would love to see is if we do a Darth Bane trilogy, right? Imagine that. Go down the horror route, James Wan. Imagine James Wan coming in and doing a Darth Bane horror style sort of trilogy. Like, getting filmmakers with that talent level and having these great ideas that can bring something fresh and new to the Star Wars universe. Reinvent it. Give us these new stories. Give us these new genres. Showcase what they can do when it comes to this. Now, I get it. People want fans of the whole franchise to come in and do it because they want them to know Star Wars and stuff like that. I get that. But I also want good content. Sometimes fans don't always make the best stories. So why not get someone in who knows how to make a really good film, who has a good track record, who could bring something different, fresh and new and expand the universe? Why not give them a go? We can help them with the lore. Like, we can reinstate people in and go, look, get around the board and go, okay, so this is it. But most people generally have an idea of what Star Wars is and like all that. I don't think you need to be fully immersed in the lore to know everything about Star Wars to make a Star Wars film. I don't think you need that. But we get good writers, we get these good filmmakers with fresh ideas. I think it works. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us reinvent Star Wars in a way. We gotta update it. We gotta make it fresh. We gotta make it feel better. We gotta make it better. If we don't, then Star Wars is gonna slowly keep sinking. And at the moment, it's not in the best spot. And I want to see it get back to where it was. And I think this is how we do it. So overall, that is my plan of what I would do if I was instated as the top person at Lucasfilm. This is how I would do Star Wars. I'd have my 10-year plan, movies and shows. I'd bring in new mature content, different genres, filmmakers who can bring fresh ideas and know how to make great films. I'd bring in good writing, all that stuff. I'd also make sure that I would take a gamble with things as well, like try something different, because the ultimate idea is to freshen up and bring a new audience in. So I think targeting different things and making different genres really can broaden our whole idea of Star Wars and bring new people in. And I think if we can give a little bit of everything to everyone, there's no reason why that everyone can't be satisfied here. And I know it's a big thing for Star Wars fans. Like, it's so hard to satisfy everyone. Like, it is just very hard, and you've seen that with Andor, like the big split and everything like that. But I think this plan could work, and I think choosing either Old Republic or starting fresh in a whole new era in the future is the biggest key to do. I think most Star Wars fans are getting burnt out by the Skywalker saga. I get it, and I am too, and I think it's time for something new, something different. And I think we need someone who knows what they're doing to be the head of Lucasfilm and who's willing to do this, have a plan. Like, the biggest thing is you got to have a plan, though. You have to have a plan. You have to have it mapped out, because we've seen when they don't, things just don't work out. So overall, that's my thoughts. So let me know yours down below. What did you guys think of mine? Smash yours down as well. I'm very intrigued to hear what you guys would like to see. What would you do if you were the head of Lucasfilm? Where would you take Star Wars? How would you bring Star Wars back to its prime? Smash it down now. I'm super intrigued. Let's be respectful of each other. I want to know what you guys have to say. I want to have a discussion. I'm passionate about Star Wars. You guys know this is one of my favorite franchises of all time. It's been there my whole entire life. I've loved it so much, and it pains me to see it in the state it's in. And I want to see it come back. I just want to see good stories. Dude, I want to see the opening crawl again. I want that. I just want to see it on the big screen again. It's been far too long. Smash yours down there. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe. Peace out.